Hi everyone, Ashlyn here from Minister for Happiness, and welcome to this week's Storytime. Each week I share with you an inspiring story, one for you to reflect upon and hopefully take the lesson into your life. And this week's story is a very special one. It's quite close to my heart because it's from a book I'm currently writing, which is a collection of short stories. So I hope you enjoy it and I hope you take the lesson into your life. It's called You've Got a Friend. The aroma of fresh coffee catches her nose as the sound of the radio playing fades into the background. She is transported back in time as she sips her coffee, gazing out the kitchen window. It seems like only yesterday when she had stared out that same window and watched him plant that tree. It was a spring day and they were only a few months in their new home. "Why is he putting that damn tree in the middle of the garden?" she exclaimed out loud to nobody in particular, as she watched him dig a hole and wrestle with the tree to get it straight. He wasn't exactly green fingers. That was more her department. But he was determined to plant that tree in that spot regardless of her advice. When he finally conquered the tree, he strolled back into the kitchen, proud as punch. "Well, what do you think?" She half smiled and nodded. It's very straight." Oblivious to her sarcasm and riding the wave of his gardening accomplishment, he went about making himself a well-deserved cup of tea, she recalled. It's amazing how a memory can be triggered so easily and be so clear. She stood at the kitchen sink, sipping her coffee, the taste hitting her and waking her up in a whole new way, staring out the window, completely transfixed on that tree. The same tree, standing there in all its enormity, in the centre of the garden 15 years later. She recalled her annoyance at him for planting the very tiny shrub at the time in the very middle of the garden. She felt a little guilt wash over her at this memory. This was their home, and they had saved for it, and every detail of it they had agreed on, from the building to the engineer's plans to the painting of the walls to the interior decorating, all the way throughout the house. However, when it came to the positioning of that tree, they had very different visions. The song playing on the radio for a moment stands out so clearly, as if a ghost turned up the volume and suddenly the words reach her ears like a whisper from another world. "You just call out my name and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again." The eucalyptus tree stood nearly 30 feet tall now, 2 feet for every year of its life. Its grey-yellow trunk was thick and strong now. Its branches reached upwards and outwards and draped back down, creating a canopy to fill the space it was always intended to. The tree's dusty green leaves, standing out against the blue sky backdrop, made it even more beautiful to look at. And in that moment, she realised something. His vision was different from hers because his path was different from hers. And on some deeper level, deeper than just the earth he dug up that day to plant the tree, he wanted to create a memory. He wanted to have a special monument to mark the beginning of their new lives in their new home with their kids, families, and friends. What he also did that day was encapsulate a moment in time that she would forever have. As she stood at the kitchen window, the tree became alive to her. They had looked out that window together at the tree and watched their kids play when they were younger. She had watched him kick the soccer ball around in the garden. The same tree they had naturally gone to when getting pictures for their girls' communions, confirmations, Girl Guide awards, graduations and debs. That tree was there in the background the last winter when it snowed so heavily you could barely see the tree, and they went outside to get a picture in the snow. She had stood at that same window for years and looked out so many times and wondered, why did he plant that tree in the middle of the garden? She had watched him plant that tree 15 years previously, except now he was no longer there. That picture taken in the snow that winter was the last before he passed away, and the tree was there then, and it was still there. Now, as she stared out at the tree, she didn't think, why did he plant that damn shrub in the very centre of the garden? Instead, she looked out at the tree with fresh eyes as his favourite song played on the radio. She now knew why he planted that tree in that specific spot. He planted that small shrub because he knew it would grow into a great big tree. And it wouldn't be lost in the middle of the garden. It would become the middle of the garden. It wasn't a waste of space. It was a sacred space. And every person who sees the tree would feel the presence of the man who planted it. She moved over to the radio, turned up the volume, and started to sing along to the song. You just call out my name and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. As tears filled her eyes, a smile began to form, and she said out loud to nobody in particular, he planted that tree for me and our girls, so even when he wasn't here, he would be remembered. And there is a Greek proverb that says, a society grows great when old men plant trees in whose shade they know they shall never sit. So I hope you enjoyed this story. As I said, it's very close to my heart. And for me, the message in this is you never know why something happens in your life, whether it's planting a tree or a breakup or changing jobs or any situation. It may seem like it doesn't make sense or it's not right or it's the wrong place, the wrong time, the wrong move. But maybe there's a deeper meaning, and maybe you won't see that for a long time. But when you look back on the lesson, you'll be grateful. So I hope you enjoyed this week's story, and please like and share. As always, you never know who this message might speak to or who might just like to hear a nice story. And until next week, stay healthy, stay happy, and stay safe. Bye.